Hey, what's up, guys? Eyes open in California here. So in the previous video, I had already told you the background story. I'd had a dream. In this dream, I had four books all set next to each other. And I was reading them from Genesis chapter 1 all the way to the end of Genesis chapter 5. And I was comparing what was written precept upon precept, book to book. So I started off in Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, and I compared it to Genesis chapter 1, verse 1 of the next book. And I did this for four books all the way until I finished to the end of Genesis chapter 5. And I had found two things that were significantly different. I was told to pay close attention to every detail. So I did. I went through it one precept at a time. In the previous video, I told you that in the Dead Sea Scrolls, there was no mention of Genesis chapter 1, verses 29 through 31, which clearly give us our commanded diet. So that was completely missing from the Dead Sea Scrolls. So that's one of the important things that I found, right? So I'm going to set that book down because for this next thing that I found, the Dead Sea Scrolls did not play a very significant role in it. And what I'm speaking about more specifically is the genealogies. You know how it said, and Adam lived such and such years, and then he begat Seth. And Adam lived such and such amount of years after he begat Seth. And all the days of Adam were 930 years, right? This is the part that I'm speaking about because I found something that was very, very peculiar. As I started looking at all these numbers, I started thinking to myself, hey, these numbers aren't lining up. What's written in these Bibles, these later Bibles, doesn't agree with what's written in the Septuagint, which is written almost 2,000 years prior to these ones, right? So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you what I found. So this is the comparison that I found, right? I have this toolbar right in my way. It's right where I need to read. But anyway, so this is the King James Version Bible, right? Because this is the one that most people are reading, that I know anyways. I had to find some kind of a standardized format in order for me to use all these numbers in a way that was easily readable, right? So it says right here, King James Version Bible. And Adam lived 130 years, and he begot Seth. Adam lived 800 more years, and all the days of Adam were 930 years. And Seth lived 105 years, and he begot Enos. Seth lived 807 more years, and all the days of Seth were 912 years. And I did this all the way down, right? So these numbers right here basically came out of both of these Bibles. They're identical. So these numbers here at the bottom, these numbers came out of the Septuagint. And the numbers are slightly different, right? And Adam lived 230 years and he begot Seth. Adam lived 700 more years, and all the days of Adam were 930 years. So all of these ages pretty much lined up except for Lamech, right? Everything else is pretty much right on. Actually, it literally is dead on. The only one that was different was Lamech. In the Septuagint, he lived 753 years. In the King James Version Bible, they have him as living 777 years. But here's where the biggest difference comes from. Comes from this. How old they were when they had their first son, right? It says here, Adam lived 230 years and he begot Seth. But in the King James Version Bible, it said, and Adam lived 130 years and he begot Seth. And there's a couple of 100-year differences between these two columns. So here's what it amounts to. In the King James Version Bible, it basically says that 1,056 years from creation, Noah was born. And of course, Noah lived 600 years and then it started to rain for 40 days and 40 nights. So basically it means this. 1,656 years from creation was the Great Flood. And in the Septuagint, the numbers are different. When I added this column together, I came up with a completely different count. And here is the number, right? It basically says that 1642 years from creation, Noah was born. And of course, Noah lived 600 years and it rained for 40 days and 40 nights. Therefore, 2242 years from creation was the great flood. Now, these two numbers are 586 years apart. There is a 586-year discrepancy between when the flood actually took place. That's a pretty big discrepancy. I know that in the book of Jubilees, it says that the Israelites crossed into the promised land during the Jubilee year of the 50th Jubilee, which basically a Jubilee is 50 years. So 50 times 50 is 2,500. So basically the Israelites crossed into the promised land on the year 2500, on the nose. And you know what? God's timing is perfect and it makes perfect sense, right? But somewhere way back in the beginning, there's a mathematical error. So all I'm saying is that these numbers are completely different. There is a 586-year error going on here. If the Septuagint is correct, then things are completely in a different time. But anyways, I just wanted to bring this to your attention. This is going to hit the eyes of somebody who needed to see this. So if you read these genealogies in the Bible and it doesn't make any difference to you, then maybe this video is not for you. But I assure you, this video is for somebody. Somebody out there needed to see this laid out this way so that they can do whatever it is that they need to do. So hopefully I've helped you. So this was the second thing that I found when I put all these books basically precept to precept. These were the only differences that I found in the first 5 chapters of the book of Genesis. So I did exactly what I was shown to do in my dream, and this is what I found. So eyes open in California. Thank you. God bless you.